All right, now it's the NFC. This one was pretty difficult because there's a lot of teams that I think are good to can be really good. Very high floors, if you ask me. So let's go into it. We're going to waste no time. My number one team in this conference is going to be the Green Bay Packers. Won 11 games last year. The 15-2 Detroit Lions last year. You know, that was the only reason they weren't maybe more of a factor in the division. But I see them going 13-4 this year, winning two extra games. After just adding Micah Parsons, their pass rush is going to be significantly improved. That was a position of need for them, and they were able to get to the best. They were able to get the best one in the league, so that's going to help them. They actually also had a lot of bad luck last season with injuries, and they still won 11 games. So I like Jordan Love a lot. Jordan Love has proven he can perform in the postseason as well, upsetting the Dallas Cowboys a couple years ago. You know, this is a team that a lot of people are going to start picking now. I was high on them before getting Micah Parsons. I had them winning the division before getting Micah Parsons. I just had them winning around maybe 12 games. I have them at 13-4. So they are my team, and we'll see. They may or may not be my pick to go to the Super Bowl. Next, Philadelphia Eagles. Now, there's this 20-year long, I think maybe 2020. Yeah, it's a 20-year long streak of different division winners in the NFC East. It seems to always be, well, Dallas, New York, Washington or Philadelphia. They never won 2 years in a row. I think that streak ends this year. The Eagles are defending champions. I don't see Washington being better than them in this year, especially with a much stronger schedule. Philly. Now, listen, I think they're going to have a bit of a Super Bowl hangover. I think Saquon Barkley, it's almost impossible to replicate what he did last season. They probably may get more dinged up. At the end of the day, 12-5 feels pretty good and sturdy for them. They could be even better than that. But I feel pretty good about having them there. Because listen, you get to a position where the Eagles have been really consistent. And really the only regular season where they had problems was 2 years ago when they started off amazing and then just completely fell off the second half of the year. The Eagles are a consistent 12-win team right now, I think we could say. Hurts is as reliable as it gets. And they get the job done. That's just as much as I can't stand the Eagles, it's just the truth. And as much as Saquon stuck it to my franchise last year and really to anybody, everybody out there, and he was a huge reason why they get to that Super Bowl and they win that Super Bowl, even though he didn't perform at elite level in the Super Bowl because there was just the game wasn't coming to him. The Eagles dominated Kansas City and made a statement. So wouldn't shock me if they're the best team in the NFC this year. I just have them too. Bit of a Super Bowl hangover, but still really, really good and will show up when it matters most. And they're going to be a lot of people's picks this year. Next, the Los Angeles Rams. This team, and listen, this is all assuming Stafford's back is okay. And listen, I had them going far, and the back stuff scares me. And it's hindered me a little bit. I still have them at 11-6 winning this division. Again, all depends on his health. Because Stafford and McVay, I think, are an excellent combo. And also, this team got better adding Devontae Adams. Listen, this team, Puka Nacua, you hope is more healthy in the season. Last year, they suffered a lot of injuries early on. Got off to a slow start and still finished really strong. And they were the team that gave the Eagles the best game out of anybody in the postseason last year. Now, that is something I'm looking at, and that's just what I believe is going to go happen going into next year. I think they're more of the team that ended last season, that really good, consistent, awesome team with the Super Bowl confidence as they have won one. And this year, I think they're going to have the similar thing. But like I said, all relies on Stafford's back. And because of that, it's hindering where I think, if I think they can go really far. But I have them at 11-6 winning this division. Next, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I was really high on this team last year. This year, I'm high on them again. But last year scared me a little bit because this team made a lot of dumb mistakes. They had a lot of stupid turnovers. Their defense wasn't good enough. I just, despite how awesome Baker was last year and how much I think he's going to continue to be awesome, um, the fact that they just got better. I mean, Emeka Egbuka, um, that he looks like he's going to be a stud and just make that offense even more explosive. Bucky Irving, I think, is going to repeat a lot what he did last year. My issue with Tampa is obviously in a weak division. I think they're going to eat up a little bit too. They may get off to a bit of a slow start due to injuries, but they when those guys get healthy, they'll be back into it. Here's what I will say about Tampa. I think they have a coaching ceiling. Todd Bowles, I don't think is a bad coach. I don't think he's an awful coach or anything like that. Like if you ask a Jet fan right after Todd Bowles was like, oh, they couldn't stand Todd Bowles. I just think there's a ceiling with Todd Bowles. I don't think he's a guy that can take you over the top. There's just other coaches I would rather have. And despite the interesting, you know, offensive potential that Tampa has, despite how much I like Baker, despite that they make some plays where you're like, wow, this team is so exciting. I just can't get there with Bowles to be the guy that helps them and takes them to the Super Bowl and leads them to a Super Bowl. I just can't do it. I can't get there. I have to see it. I've seen too much of Todd Bowles, whether it was with the Jets and even moments here with Tampa. I just can't get there. Maybe he proves me wrong. We'll see. Coming up next, I have this team making the playoffs, but obviously taking a significant setback, and that's the Detroit Lions. I can't fully be confident when I really liked both of their coordinators and Ben Johnson, who's now in Chicago, and Aaron Glenn, who's now with the Jets. I have to imagine they take a step back. Also, naturally, winning 15 games last year and having just a brutal playoff loss, I have to imagine they take a step back. I don't think these guys are going to just forget football necessarily. I don't see them crashing and burning. There is potential for being the team that for them being the team that misses the playoffs, just looking at the history of the Detroit Lions and not having the most credibility at repeating success like they do. But losing both coordinators is not great. Also, their offensive line is significantly worse on paper this year. And that was a big highlight for them and really helped their offense go. However, I still have them at 10-7. I still have them as a playoff team. I think they're too good and too talented, too well-rounded for them to drop 6 wins from last year, 6 or 7 wins. I just don't see that. I don't see them going to 9-8. 10-7 feels right for them. I just really like the vibe of the Packers right now winning that division. And I really think Detroit, while they were a fun to root for team, and they did have some injuries at the end of that year that hurt them, I just see them taking a step back, especially with losing the coordinators. Just because I think the coordinators were that good. I just think I really like Glenn and I really like Ben Johnson. So we'll see coming in, but that feels about right for them. I think that's enough respect to Dan Campbell that yeah, they'll take a step back, but he's still competent enough to where they'll make the playoffs and they'll have continued success. Same with Goff. Next, the Chicago Bears. The New England Patriots were my big jump team in the AFC. The Chicago Bears are my big jump team in the NFC. Caleb Williams is the number one pick, number one talent, similar to Trevor Lawrence, just a coveted talent. Had an atrocious coaching situation with Matt Eberflus. Had bad luck, too. I mean, that Jaden Daniels Hail Mary definitely wasn't a bright spot in their season. And also, just he got sacked 68 times. By far led the league. Got sacked more than any other quarterback. CJ Stroud, I believe, was second at 52. Caleb Williams won at 68. So, not a great situation. This year, he's got a lot of weapons and a guy who was the offensive wizard in Detroit of a 15-win team. I think Chicago makes a jump. They won 5 games last year. 5 more wins, maybe asking a lot, but I see them doing that. I see the potential of this Chicago Bears team, but the questions are it's a bet on Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams. That's what it mostly is. If Caleb Williams stinks, this team is not winning 10 games. If Ben Johnson stinks, this team is not winning 10 games. So the hope for them is Caleb significantly takes a jump and improves with more stable coaching, and that Ben Johnson is the stable coach. It's really that simple. That's why I have Chicago going 10-7. I can't have them going farther than that, like in the postseason. Like I think maybe they could win a game, maybe, but I just think a postseason is a big step for them, especially with the Chicago Bears. Next, San Francisco, the 49ers. They're my seventh team in this NFC, mainly due to my trust in Brock Purdy and Kyle Shanahan. Christian McCaffrey hopefully having a more healthier season, although there's a lot of Achilles tearing fears right now with him. If McCaffrey's McCaffrey, they're better, I think. And even though this team won 6 games last year, this schedule is a lot easier. This is a really easy schedule. And because of that, just taking all that into account, despite how if injuries happen, they're completely, again, probably screwed like last year. I have them at 10-7. I just think the schedule is that easy enough for them to get there, and I think they're too talented to be another 6-11 team or whatever. I think even if injuries do happen, they're probably still like 9-8. Like I just think that schedule is that good, is that easy for them, and I believe in the talent, the top tier talent that they have, and the coaching situation. So San Francisco at 10-7, I have them sneaking into that postseason spot, but the concerns are if they aren't healthy, will their depth be exposed like they were last year? Next, Washington Commanders at 8. There's a lot of people who have this team winning the division. I don't agree with those people. This team won 12 games last year, had an incredibly easy schedule. Sometimes when we see rookie quarterbacks that are really good, and Janie Daniels arguably had the best quarterback season a rookie has ever had. But let's look at it like this too. They had a super easy schedule. This was a team that wasn't expected to do much and not kind of overachieved. They won a lot of close games. They're very lucky in a lot of games. And that example being Jaden Daniels' Hail Mary against the Bears. The problem I have is this is the oldest team in football. The schedule is going to be a lot more difficult. I think their division is going to be a lot better with the New York Giants coming in. Maybe not a lot better, but like better. I guess maybe not. If Washington is worse, then yeah, I guess maybe not. But I don't know. Forget I said that. Let's talk about this. The Washington Commanders are going to have a tougher schedule. So you're basically betting on if Jaden Daniels is the elite of the elites. Or Washington will be fine. We'll see. Maybe they are the team that made it to the NFC Championship last year. Maybe they can repeat that. I still am hesitant just because of, especially with the regular season win totals, just because they were very fortunate to win a lot of games last year and they're older. And, 9-8 isn't like being 3 wins worse considering how easy the schedule was last year. I don't think is crazy. Like, it's not like I have them winning like 6 games. Like, I have them winning 9. So that's just my belief in that moment. Next, the Atlanta Falcons. Here's the bright spots with the Falcons, but here's where I just have them having way too many question marks. They're 8-9 in my book this year. The running game is going to be elite with Bijan Robinson. I don't really believe in the coach yet in Raheem Morris. Now, listen, he had to deal with the corpse of Kirk Cousins last year. You're assuming Penix is better. But my issue comes from there's just a lot of questions with this team. They could be good. They could be better. They could win the division, but I like Tampa. I like their explosive offense better. Washington did it last year. You know, there's teams ahead of them, and I like the potential of Chicago better. Is Penix going to be great? I don't know. Is Penix going to be bad? I don't know. I would settle for something in the middle. Like he's probably good or okay. Does that get you to the playoffs in the NFC? We'll see. We'll see. The NFC is loaded with a lot of talented teams that are going to miss the playoffs. We're going to mention some of them, and in my opinion, the Falcons are one of them. I expect Drake London to have another really good year. Um, but and Penix is going to throw the ball. It all comes down to how good is Michael Penix. Penix had moments last year, played later in the season. Can he put together a consistent, very good year? Because there's talent on the Falcons roster. I have to see more. Hence why I have the Falcons at 8-9. Next, here's another one that could be controversial. I just can't get there. I have the Minnesota Vikings at 8-9. This team won 14 games last year with Sam Darnold. I did not like Darnold. I did not like how Darnold played down the stretch. That's more of an indictment on Sam Darnold, and that's more of what I think is going to happen with Seattle, which is why I haven't mentioned them yet. The biggest question is JJ McCarthy. JJ McCarthy, say what you want about Sam Darnold last year and how he ended the season. JJ McCarthy is a rookie, and he's coming off an ACL tear. I understand the coaching staff is there, but it feels like Minnesota had a little bit of lightning in a bottle last season. And I definitely don't think 14 games is repeatable. I'm going to assume this is more of a take a step back, see what we have, developmental year for JJ McCarthy. And hence that I expect them, and because of that, I expect them to be 8-9. And I expect them to be competitive each week, but mainly due to the fact that that is a really good coaching staff. And I haven't seen JJ McCarthy. I just can't give you an honest assessment of JJ McCarthy's play because I haven't seen it. And there's just a lot of questions I have. This team also did flame out at the end of the year. A lot to do with Sam Darnold's play, but there were other reasons too. This feels like a step back year. See what we got in McCarthy. Maybe we have potential. Maybe he shows bright spots. But I see them kind of taking a step back. Some people have them making the playoffs. Some people are buying into the JJ thing. Some people have them way worse. I have them more towards in the middle. 8-9 for the Minnesota Vikings. This one is this next team is going to have more of a jump. You could say I'm a little biased here, but I have my reasons for it. I have the New York Giants going 7-10 this year. I've been consistent with this. This is not before the preseason. I thought an optimistic season for the New York Giants would be a 7-10 year. Considering the draft they had, the offseason they had, which I thought was excellent on paper. Arguably getting the best play in the draft in Abdul Carter. It looks like Dart is just checking boxes left and right for them. They love him. Was a big fan of that pick, and it looks like Dart really showed in the preseason. The vibe overall with the New York Giants feels different, and they have three quarterbacks on this team right now that are all better than Daniel Jones. Like all better. Jameis is better. Dart is better. Russell Wilson is better. So I love the vibe. I think Neighbors is going to feel a lot better. I think Wilson's going to go to Neighbors all the time. I believe Brian Dable's a good coach. A lot of people are saying his job is in jeopardy. I think his job would only be in jeopardy if they're awful. Because otherwise, if they have a pretty good developmental season, I don't think you want to fire a coach when you just drafted a rookie quarterback. I expect Dable to be here the next years, which is the right decision, in my opinion. Right decision. Unless they're a complete disaster and Dart's awful or whatever, my issue with the New York Giants, despite how much I love the vibes, as much as I want to see them make the playoffs, the schedule is just too tough. It's too tough. And this team won 3 games last year, I think, right? 3 or 4 games? I don't even remember. It was so atrocious. They are just so brutal. They were just so brutal last year. So to put them in the playoffs the next year, I think it's just asking a lot. It's asking too much. So 7-10 with a really tough schedule and hoping Dart has his moments. I think it's a good thing. I think it's silly to start him week one. The people saying that I think are ridiculous. You know, just give me a break. Start Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is probably going to be a future Hall of Famer at some point. Wilson deserves to start. Okay. I know Dart showed out in the preseason. He hasn't earned it yet. Let him learn, develop in the right way. The Giants are doing the right thing, which is why I believe in this regime. They had incompetent quarterback play with Daniel Jones the last 2 years. Daniel Jones got paid and stunk after that. I mean, there's not really much a coach or GM can do. They knew that, which is why they gave Jones the contract that they did, because they knew this was a possibility that Jones could suck after getting paid. So going in, that's how I'm feeling. The next team, I have the Seattle Seahawks at 7-10. There's a lot of new faces on this offense. This team had a winning record last year. They're replacing Geno Smith with Sam Darnold. On paper, is Geno Smith a is Sam Darnold or is Geno Smith a big upgrade over Sam Darnold? No, I wouldn't say that. From especially how they played last year. Here's what I would say. I think it's a huge red flag that Minnesota just had zero interest in bringing Sam Darnold back after the season he had last year. I just think that's a red flag. And despite the coaching staff in Seattle, despite the talent that's there, I hated the way Darnold played at the end of the season last year. And I need to see more of Sam Darnold. And I especially need to see it on another team with a new coaching staff. It's really that simple. It's really that simple. Can Darnold replicate the success he had last year with a new coaching staff, with new talent on the team? Can he do it? New organization, the whole deal. Can Darnold do that? We're going to find out. But I can't 100% buy in, so I have the Seahawks at 7-10. Next, Arizona Cardinals. I have them at 6-11. Some people have this team in the playoffs. Some even have them winning the division. There's talent on this team. This team showed flashes last year. Kyler Murray is now 2 years removed from his ACL tear. Can Kyler be what he was pre-injury? Will be an interesting storyline going into this year. Will Marvin Harrison Jr. be better? Can Kyler and Marvin Harrison Jr. get on the same page? I just think there's a lot of teams in the NFC that I like better. I love the vibes of the New York Giants. I think Seattle has more talent on the team, to be quite honest. I just think I think the Vikings, you know, have talent and a great coaching staff. I think the Falcons are similar to what they kind of were last year, maybe even better if Penix is better, right? Like I think Chicago improved tremendously. I think Washington, even if they do take a step back, they did win 12 games last year. It's just a tough ass conference. So it's hard for me to be like, oh yeah, I 100% am buying in to the Kyler Murray Arizona Cardinals. I just can't get there yet with them. And 6-11 may be harsh on them, but I don't know. I think they're pretty. I feel pretty decent about that. Maybe the New York Giants are awful again. We'll see. But that's how I'm feeling about the Arizona Cardinals right now. All right. Next team, the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I wasn't high on the Cowboys before the Micah Parsons trade. Definitely not after. Their one hope is you hope maybe. Listen. I got to see what's up with Schottenheimer as the coach. I just got to see it. I'm not going to make any judgments. I just need to see it before anything else. Listen, they're kind of like a Bengals light with CD Lamb, George Pickens, and Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott being back is going to help this team. 7-10 last year, no doubt. Maybe I'm being off on them. Their defense is just going to be so bad this year. I think they're going to put up a lot of stats. Um, I think they're going to be an interesting team throughout the weeks. They're not going to be boring, but I have them going 5-12. There's just other teams in the NFC I like better. It's just really that simple. The vibe, and sometimes, I've been saying vibes a lot, but I think it matters because specifically with the Dallas Cowboys, it could be really deflating when you have a elite player like Michael Parsons that everybody likes in that organization. It seems like, or in the as far as the players go, and the roster goes, it's deflating when that guy just goes, and it feels, it just doesn't feel good. So, can the Cowboys bounce back? I think it could take some time. Therefore, I have them going 5-12. Next, the Carolina Panthers. A lot of people are buying into this team, and they're a classic example of the team that everyone's starting to like them and get high on and be like, oh, this, that, this, and look how they finished last year when nobody gave a crap about playing them. You caught them off guard. Yeah, I mean, Bryce Young's stock was at a complete all-time low. I got to see more. It's really that simple. I have them going 5-12. You know, I kind of fear these teams that everybody thinks is going to be the surprise team, and it seems like Carolina is like that right now. I got to see more. I got to see more of Bryce Young. I just got to see more from Carolina. It's that simple. I like the other teams better. I get they played well against the Eagles last year. I get it. They played well down the stretch. Sometimes we get a little fugazi, wazi's a woozy. We get it. But I can't buy in yet. Just can't. Next, final team in the NFC. The team that I think is going to be in contention with the Cleveland Browns and the Indianapolis Colts for the worst team in football, the New Orleans Saints. And similar reasons to those teams, it's the QB class, it's the QB room. The QB issues remain for them. I think they'll compete hard, but the overall talent is just not there, especially at that quarterback position. Spencer Rattler is going to be starting, and that's saying a lot because the Saints took a quarterback this year, and he's not starting, and he's 25 years old. So I think they're looking at next year. I think this is an organizational tank year. I do. Similar to Cleveland, similar to Indianapolis. It feels like they took shots on quarterbacks, either didn't work out or we're going to wait and see what they have. But ultimately, it's the QB prospects next year is what they want. So those are my thoughts on the NFC. And now that I've gone over the AFC and the NFC, it only makes sense to pick my Super Bowl. Now, I really wanted to go with the Buffalo Bills in the AFC. I felt really good, about picking them to be the best team in football this year. But here's the problem. Sometimes when you lose to a team over and over and over again, they just have your number. And you want to pick against them because you want to feel different. I just can't get there. There is no team in the AFC that I am going to trust more than I trust the Kansas City Chiefs. And I don't care how they lost last year. So I know it's not the most exciting pick. They're going to have this one last hurrah with Kelsey. I believe in Mahomes and Andy Reid. These guys know how to win games in the final 2 minutes when it matters most. If I'm betting my life, I'm going with Kansas City. So I had Kansas City going to the Super Bowl this year. As far as the NFC goes, the team that I really wanted to go with at one point was the Los Angeles Rams. The Stafford back stuff is affecting me. I don't feel good about it, especially at his age. I just don't feel good about it. and I think he's going to play. I just don't. If you're telling me the difference between making the playoffs and making the Super Bowl, a back injury to Matthew Stafford being as your quarterback, that matters to me. So I expect, I was high on them before, but I think newfound momentum, especially after the trade, is making me really pick them. I think the Green Bay Packers are going to the Super Bowl. And I think we're going to have a Kansas City Chiefs, Green Bay Packers Super Bowl. And I think Kansas City is going to win. I think the Chiefs know that you're not going to get many of these options, many of these chances. I think they believe they're better than and all these teams in the AFC. I think they're pissed off after last year in the Super Bowl. And I think they're going to be coming fighting back. It doesn't really make sense that I have them at 12-5, but so be it. That's just where I kind of came off. There is just no team I trust them more in the postseason than there's just no other team I trust. And you know, if they're not going to face Philadelphia in the Super Bowl, they're going to face Green Bay, top 10 offense, but I think they'll be able to do stuff against their defense. Michael Parsons obviously affects things. But am I going to trust Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers? Or am I going to trust Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs? I mean, listen, a couple years ago, the Philadelphia Eagles, if it wasn't for, that controversial call, I mean, they had a chance to win that, to beat that Chiefs team. And it wasn't like Buffalo where it was year after year they just came up short. Like Philadelphia came up short once. So there were reasons to take Philly last year. So if I'm taking a KC Green Bay team, I'm trusting Mahomes and I'm trusting Reed. And I know this isn't the smart pick. I know this is the safe pick. I get it. It's the typical pick. But it's just what I believe. It's really that simple. I could be wrong. Every team I could be wrong about that I just talked about. But after spending some time, a decent amount of time looking at each team and how I feel, this is what I came to. And so I appreciate you guys listening to this. I'm so excited for football season to start. Fantasy, I'm all in this year. Once again, so I'm so hyped for this year. I'm excited to watch the New York Giants. I'm excited to watch the New York Jets. We're going to be talking about that a lot. And I think before I go, I'm going to have to make a pick for tonight. Dallas Cowboys, Philadelphia Eagles. Come on, Philadelphia Eagles. I'll see you guys next time. And I can't wait for Sunday. This is going to be so great. And I'm looking forward to it. Football's back, baby. And we are going to roll and we are going to keep enjoying it each and every year. But, it feels, every year we know this is going to happen. We know football's coming and we're all happy and excited about it. But for some reason, the excitement just never goes away. I'm just so excited. So thank you guys for listening to the JB podcast. I understand the Yankees lost last night. It was ridiculous, but thoughts on that will come at another time. Thank you guys for listening. I appreciate it. Have a great one.